Me? Hi, I'm Brian Madison with DeerHunterFan.com TV. Today is October 30th, and in this week's episode, I'm going to talk really quick about the bucks in Kansas, but also a lot of action has been going on with all the guys here in New York. Seen a lot of deer, starting to see shooters on their feet, and some shot opportunities as well that we had to show you. Real quick here, the rut action's just starting to pick up here, and we're seeing bucks chasing and young bucks cruising. Usually, last night I saw 4 different young bucks. This morning I saw 2 young bucks and then a mature buck chasing a doe. So you can expect to see more and more big bucks on their feet. When those little bucks come out like that and you're seeing them in numbers, you know it's a matter of days, handful of days probably, till the big boys are on their feet and those does are really getting close to coming in estrus for some rut action. We're going to jump in now with a hunt with Jake Barmore, a hunt with Ben Sample, some action that I've had over the last few days, and then also with Travis Olmstead really quick. And then after all that, at the end of the show, I'm going to talk really fast about the 2 scenarios that Mason and Griffin took their bucks in Kansas. Okay, just got snapped in with my muddy safety harness. We're in my spot. Early, it's just past 2 o'clock, so we got a good set here. Pushing 5 hours is what it'll be, so. It's supposed to rain around 3 o'clock, and I forgot the tree umbrella. But I do have a cover for the camera, but darn it. I don't have a cover for me.
It's about 10 o'clock. I'm going to call it a day. I checked the video out from last night, and I definitely hit a limb. watch it, you can see the limb actually shake and the deer start to take off before the arrow even got to him. So the time he took off wasn't like he heard my bow or the shot go. It was definitely it hitting the limb. So go back at it tonight. Go get warmed up. The temperature's perfect. Wind's like nothing. So stay with us.
It's October 30th. Just got in the tree. Got a new spot here. Trying it out. Just see what happens. Bunch of scrapes and stuff in here. So, got the ozonics set up. Ready to roll. Well, here we are. It's a good day to come in, set up some trail cameras. Got the combine rolling, making all kinds of noise and racket. So you can sneak right in, set up a trail camera, build a mock scrape, whatever you got to do. Readjust the stand. Good time to do it. All kinds of racket. Let's get it done. Well, I've set up 2 mock scrapes with Killbuck scents and lures. I hope I see some good deer activity on them. I got the trail cams on them. I put a couple more cameras up on a couple nice deer trails. Really hoping to see some good movement there. There's a lot of rubs and scrapes around them. Well, so far this season I haven't had much time to hunt. I've got out a few times, but I've really been working a lot. So today I started my week's vacation. We're going to start hunting hard. Set up 4 trail cameras today, 2 on mock scrapes, and I've set them up with Killbuck scents and lures. Really hoping for some good activity because my food plot, I had some soybeans from Sinclairville seed. The deer have destroyed them. I didn't even get a chance to hunt them. I mean, I hunted them one night and that was it. So that kind of, stinks, but it's a good thing. The deer got their protein out of them and they got to live another day. So we got a couple good bucks up here on this farm where I set my trail cameras up. Got them, a couple pictures of them earlier this year. But they've totally moved. They're over here on these acorn flats. So hopefully we can get some pictures of them and get after them. Alright, here we go. Evening of October 30th. I'm hunting right next to where I was last night. The trail loops out and goes over to the tree I was in last night. On the other side of it, so the wind's better. And I did a estrus drag all the way from the field up the trail to where I'm sitting. Crossed about 2 or 3 different deer trails, hopefully to entice, draw any bucks crossing it to come up it. Put a nice little horizontal line of it out there where I want to shoot the deer. And on the downwind side of my tree, right over here, there's a fallen tree. I went out to that and made a line. Hopefully that anything coming up the woods behind me here would smell that downwind. Cut across in front of me about 30 yards before it got directly downwind of me and winded me. I'm in a big old cherry tree and the bark is super
come out of these thick thorn apples right here in front of me. Hopefully I can see their legs coming at me before they hit this opening. If it happens, it's going to be quick. But if it happens, I'll be happy.
I wanted to shoot this buck right here, but as you can see, there were some branches hanging right down in front of him. If he would have taken a couple more steps before he slammed on the brakes when his buddy winded me, I would have had him. He's standing broadside at 40 yards. As I went to draw, I moved in front of the camera, and his vitals were also behind the tree. So this just worked out good that he didn't offer me a shot, because I did not notice that I had moved in front of the camera when I drew my bow.
You saw it, he was standing. He was by a low-hanging branch. When he turned to walk away, I finally got to where I could have shot him. But I bleeded him right when he hit the opening, and when he finished his step, his vitals were behind a tree. That's what happened, is they got downwind to me and they winded me. The first buck did. If the second buck there, if the nicer one would have got to where that first little buck did, before he stopped, he would have been the wide open. He was right at 40 yards. My 40-yard pin is dead on. It's early still. We'll see more.
Well, I'm back at it. It's October 30th. It's about 3:30. Just got into the set. This wasn't my number one choice, but it's gonna have to work for tonight. I'm overlooking a food plot that has just been decimated. So it's not much of a food plot anymore. It's like a putting green. It's done. But we do have some scrape line to my left, and the wind's blowing right for this stand, so hopefully a deer will come by. So I know today Brian saw 3 different bucks. Travis had a nice buck he never got a chance to take a shot at. This was my first morning I have ever got skunked this year, actually, which is pretty good. So the deer are moving, the rut has started. Now we just need one to come by.
as Ben told you, the wind on this food plot was perfect. This doe caught a whiff of the enticer scent from Killbuck Scents and walked right over to where Ben had his planned shot.
Well, I just shot my first deer of the season. Nice doe came in, but she came right in 33 yards out. Drilled her. She went about 50 yards and she's done. So now I'm gonna get down, go tag it. I still have about an hour left of hunting, so I'm gonna get back up in this tree and hopefully a buck will follow her in. Stay with me. Well, here she is. She came in about 35 yards out and stopped, gave me a great shot. And she only went like 50 yards and I saw her go down. And before I could even get down to tag it, here comes a forkhorn. He comes in, he smells around her area, then he comes over, gives me a show. And then a 6-point comes in with no brow tines. Pretty wide for a 6-point, but the tines are really small, and I thought for a second those two were going to square off. And he ended up walking away, and so did the forkhorn, and got down just in time to get this one before we lose filming light. So, doe down, we'll get a buck tomorrow. Stay with us.
Okay, so as you saw, the bucks are starting to get on their feet. That's great. And actually now, I had to film this episode in advance because this past week, my father and I were in Kansas. We're not right now. It's still 2 days away before we leave. We're leaving November 1st, but that's in the past now that this is airing. And our Kansas trip will be on next week's episode. So by now, I'm sure that everyone's seen some heavy rut action and some chasing for sure, and probably a ton of deer on their feet. And now's the time of year that every minute spent in a tree stand during the day is not a waste. Anything can happen. Now, to touch those buck kills in Kansas, I'm going to start with Mason's. This scenario, I'm going to talk about them both because they differ a lot. Okay, this first kill with Mason was over a food plot that Mason, Griffin, and Dylan spent a lot of time over the summer getting this thing solid, getting it right, fencing it in. It was in the middle of a pasture, making sure that the deer were going to be there. They had trail cams showing them that they were going to be there. They had a hit list of bucks, just a group of them coming to this field. Mason was able to get in there and take advantage of it. And he was able to actually get a shot at 2 bucks. Didn't get the first one. Backed out. Went back, a handful of days later, and killed Patch Adams. A beautiful 10-point.
Right.
So that scenario there shows you what a early season food plot hunt can do for you, especially in an area like that where that is the premier food source. You know, sometimes I think that's overlooked a little bit. think you just go and put your food plot at the end of another agricultural field or something like that. It's more enticing to the deer, but it's not the lone food source in a little area that's going to entice these deer to come to it even more. Griffin's buck. This was a buck where actually the 8-point that was hanging out with him was the buck they were hoping to get a shot at. They were actually just hoping to get a shot at doe. It was a last minute hunt. They had saw this buck back there, decided to go back there. Didn't even have a double set. Cameraman was sitting in the tree stand. Griffin had his muddy safety harness on and was standing on a tree branch. So this shows you the creativity in this hunt and how it was still successful on a beautiful Kansas deer. Beautiful buck.
Here is more gnarly than we thought. Mainframe 9-point, I guess. Bunch of junk. Ends up being 15-point.
Also, this was a field where you could tell that these deer were used to some people pressure. This field was not far from houses. This field was not far from an area where, as you heard Griffin say in the video, maybe there were some bonfires over the summer. Look, there's a brush pile out there. So these deer are used to this, and if you see deer in an area, I don't care where it is, if it's 100 yards off the road, if it's the field right out back of your house, if deer are there, you can hunt deer there. Don't ever get discouraged for 1 second because maybe you're by a barn or the house is in sight. Travis has a ground blind like that where there's a cornfield literally 50 yards away from the house, and the deer hammer the backside of that cornfield. And it's kind of silly sitting there in the blind once snow's on and that corn's knocked down and you're looking in the living room window. But there's deer out there.
It's a doe. This one's starting to eat corn. This one's right. She's gonna be broadside. Yep, you're good. Actually, I think I might have seen her drop. I'm not positive. There's so much corn I can't really see. I was like, that's we range finding that was at 16 yards. Yeah, 16 yards.
So deer are very adaptable. Everybody knows this, and especially early season, before those big bucks are pressured and their testosterone levels put them on another level of hesitant, you can take advantage of situations like Griffin did there. So those are 2 great bucks. Hopefully by now we have some more bucks dead in Kansas. Tune in next week to find out. Hopefully there's some dead in New York by now too. I'm Brian Madison with DeerHunterFan.com TV. I'll see you next time.
DeerHunterFan.com TV is sponsored by Bee Stinger, Gold Tip, Insane Archery, Ridge Runners Guide Service, Spy Points Excel Camera, Longhorn Fab Shop, Muddy Outdoors, Ohio Trophy Buck Outfitters, Strutters, Vapor Trail, and also by these fine sponsors.